We have Bruce live in the locker room in Tallahassee celebrating on the field with the Florida State. State. 27 straight points for Clemson tonight. Like you said, you're not going to win games like that. It can't happen. And I don't know why. Like, we were able to run the ball so well in the first half, especially to the left side, and then all of a sudden we started to abandon it. And like I said, there is some inconsistency.
How are they going to approach this game? How are they going to beat this Florida State team?
Well, we're going to break you guys.
Okay, that's it. The show's over.
In the story, we're going to break you guys. Look, and I'm joking, but it's true.
Lord, the climb continues, KB. Oh my God!
I am sweating.
Look at my heart. Look. Look.
You know what? Yeah, I understand.
That his roommate was drafted in the NFL. He's a very famous football player. I'm not going to name him. Oh, I remember his name. Jack Lambert. You ever heard of Jack Lambert with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Okay. Jack Lambert with the Pittsburgh. His roommate in college helped negotiate his deal when he was drafted. After he was drafted. More of these comments. We'll take a few more of these, then we're going to show that clip.
Yeah.
That I want to show.
As Richard said, Colin said towards the end of the meeting today, we should be getting back to you all hopefully sooner rather than later. Really gave us hope. I totally agree with Richard.
That is an accurate statement. Yeah. We'll be getting back to you sooner than later.
All right, and with that, you are back with Seminoles Sideline 365. I am KB, and with me, as always, well, sometimes, is the old man. He is on mute. He has to unmute himself so he can be heard. But we are back, and we are back with an exciting show tonight. We're going to be talking through our predictions for the upcoming season, which is always a fun show because last year we were way off with our predictions. I think we both had 8-5 last year, and it was so we were a bit off. Oh, no, wait.
I don't remember. No,
I think we were a bit off. We were both a bit off from last season.
Not 8.
We are a bit off, but we'll see. We'll see. We already got some predictions in the chat, so I'm excited to see that. We want to hear, as you guys are watching tonight, what are your predictions for the season? So, Ella Gabalis, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, sees 12-3.
That's the cat's name. Meow.
Go Noles, I predict 12-3 season. 12th winning season.
Let me tell you something.
So glad to see that. So keep those predictions in the chat. We love it.
You know, a cat will dictate to any big dog. You ever watch that? The dogs are afraid unless the dog is so vicious, but cats will dictate to the normal dog.
That is true. That is true. But we're not going to go into the big media deal things tonight because that is changing by the hour. And if we talk about it, if we give you information now, it will be done by the different by the end of the show.
We could run a marathon tonight. We could just stay on till midnight.
But there's a lot going on with that, so that news will be changing as we go on. But yeah, we're going to go through it. We're going to go through week by week what our predictions are, and we'll see how it changes. But the rules for the predictions tonight are we're treating it as healthy roster, what the roster is as of today, as of what we know. So everyone's pretty much healthy right now. Pretty much we're going to act as Gerald Jackson is going to get his waiver, or maybe we won't. What are our rules? Are we going to say Gerald Jackson, are we going to play it as he's free to play? Okay, so we're going to say healthy roster as of today.
That's right.
Gerald Jackson, we're not going to say,
nobody gets hurt the whole year.
Yeah, so perfectly healthy roster for the most part, and that's how we're going to predict it. So let's get right into it. Let's start thinking about it. And I'm going to bring up a little interactive board. It's anything fancy here. But we're just going to go.
Let me.
Here we go. We're already.
Well, you set the rules. You didn't say, "Hey, what do you think, old man?" I think this is the one thing that we have a chance to change our predictions during the season.
Yes.
If it happens. If
there's
Jordan Travis, it gets hurt. Okay. Did
Yeah,
you hear
knock
that?
on wood.
Knock on wood.
Knock on
Okay,
wood.
double fingers crossed that he doesn't.
Yes.
If Jordan Travis gets hurt, okay, or Mike Norvell takes a mid-season deal out of the ACC somehow,
Yeah.
then we get a chance to restructure our looks at our predictions. That's all I ask.
Yeah,
Is that fair?
we would need to do a separate show, but I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that. So,
fair.
yeah,
And
that's
we
fair.
want to hear later as we go through. We want to, or do you want it during our
No. Give us your as we go week by
as we
week.
go through. Bring
As
it
we go
in.
week by week, let us know if you disagree with our
week
picks.
by week.
Yeah.
Week by week. Yeah,
And
that's cool.
this is what I'm sipping on tonight. A little Woodford Reserve
Wow.
double oak. I'm just gonna say, if you're looking for a cheaper alternative to some nice stuff, double oats Woodford Reserve is a nice little treat for yourself. Just
Nice.
a suggestion. Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Hey, by the way, wait a minute.
There we go.
I played some golf today. Had a great round. Do you know how you know when you have a great round of golf?
No, I don't play golf.
No, I know you don't. I've played golf with you before. Hits a great shot. So happy. Yeah. And then the next 5 are crap, and he's throwing the clubs up in the trees and in the lake. You know that's true.
Top golf.
Now, I played golf today. You know how you know you have a good round?
How?
I hit 3 balls in the sand traps. Okay? 3 different sand traps I hit. I got out of these deep bunker sand traps. First shot onto the green, made great putts, and beat the rest of the foursome. Oh, yeah. And today, I'm drinking Coke.
All right.
Because I want to make sure my mind is straight. Coke, you're out there. You're not a
need it.
sponsor yet. You better get in because the sponsorships are calling us all the time.
Are they?
Ring,
Are
ring.
they?
Who you say that? Willie? Coach Willie? Ring, ring.
Ring.
Okay.
All right, let's jump into it. We've wasted enough time.
No, we're not wasting time.
I don't want to waste the people's time, but if you are here and you are watching, we appreciate.
It's Friday
we
night.
appreciate- It is.
It's
It
Friday
is
night. They're sitting around with a pizza and beer. They're
I
enjoying
know.
this. You
I
know.
know. And we appreciate y'all watching. Like
Let
the
us
video,
know.
share with a friend, and let us know if you disagree with us as we go through this. So, where are we? Week 1, we are going to be in Orlando, Camping World Field, September 3rd. It's a Sunday night Memorial Day weekend, or Labor Day weekend, sorry. Hopefully you have the Monday off so you can watch this game, 7:30, and have a long weekend. Old man, are you going to this game? I obviously won't be there, but will you be in Orlando?
I will have the best seat for this game.
Here we go.
That's what I'm saying now. I will have probably, most likely, the very best seat for this game.
Here we go.
Okay, you know what that's called?
Yeah,
Coach talk. Coach talk.
And the
Coach
best seat,
talk.
the best seat is your couch.
I didn't say that.
yeah.
Best seat
Yeah.
available.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
So,
but I am watching the resellers to see.
all right.
See. Okay.
Just for everyone out
Maybe a
there,
sellout.
the spread for this game, I believe so far, I'm looking at the Action Network, is -2.5 for LSU at the time, as of right now. -2.5 LSU. Old man, let's go to you first. Who are you picking in this matchup? Once again,
Oh no! Wait a minute. Are we picking on those odds or just straight up?
Just straight up. Just straight up. Just-
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's make this easy.
Yeah.
Straight up. Okay. Home
Minus
game.
2.5.
I see this as a home game for Florida State. Okay. I think they'll have
should be, yeah.
60-40, 70-30 crowd our
Yeah.
favor. Okay. Orlando is going to be rocking. Okay. Orlando's going to be rocking. This is the second game of this series. We took the first one last year in a very heartbreak type game. The heat is going to be a factor, but LSU trains in the heat too. So the Noles who started training this week in the heat, they're going a little bit heat, a little bit air. I see what they're doing. A little bit heat, little depth is going to be an issue. Now, I like to say, I was playing golf at 9:30 this morning. I was dripping wet.
Okay, well.
No, I'm just saying, you don't understand the heat and the humidity that's down here in the state. And
Yeah.
in 1 September, it's still hot as hell down here.
LSU's basically a swamp.
I understand. I understand. It's not like playing Minnesota. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay? Depth will be an issue, and we'll find out which team has the better depth as we rotate people through. And that's going to be mainly on the offensive and defensive lines. It's going to be important. Cramping is going to be an issue. You better get those boys hydrated. Call up Coach Willie Taggart. He'll tell you what went wrong and how to correct it.
We got a lot of weeks to go through. Who are you picking?
Now, the FSU, our Noles offense, must put up 40 to 45 points in this ball game. And they have all the weapons to put up those types of numbers. But they have to have 40 to 45 points to give us a chance of winning this game. Our defense has to break, serve, get off the field, force them into fourth down situations where they have no other alternative but to punt the ball.
Yep.
Okay? Special teams, our kicking game, punting, and field goal kicking might be the difference in this game. LSU returns Jayden Daniels. We know about Jayden Daniels. He led that drive all the way down to the field, all the way down, that almost won that game.
Yep.
Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, returns for another season.
Yep.
He is a legitimate threat anywhere on the field. And on defense, Mason Smith, who in about 4 or 5 plays showed up pretty good last season, but then he got injured and he was gone. Mason Smith, by all reports, is back, and he's raring to go, and he wants this game.
Yep.
My prediction for this game, Noles win, close one.
All right, you're picking the Noles. Well, you gave the game breakdown, so I don't need to do that again. Which you
Well,
said
what do you
everything
add
was
to
correct. Everything was correct. The only thing I would add to it, and like you said, special teams. Ryan Fitzgerald is one of 2. You bring in Tyler Keltner, and they're going through the kicking competition, which I definitely believe there is an open kicking competition through camp right now. But obviously, I do believe Ryan Fitzgerald has the edge there. But I think special teams will be a huge factor in this game. Because I do believe it will be another close game. I think these teams are very evenly matched. Jayden Daniels, like you said, comes back. Jordan Travis comes back. A lot of the offense for LSU comes back. The only weakness in LSU's game right now is they have some unproven defensive backs, but you could say the same thing about Florida State outside of the transfers that they brought in and Fentrell Cypress.
Well, Ronaldo Green, he's not a transfer. He's looking pretty good.
Is he?
He's one of our better defensive backs.
Like I said, we have some young guys in the defensive backfield, and we have some, I think, limitations back there. I don't think we have any all-stars outside of Fentrell Cypress. You say Greedy Vance, you could, like I said, I think it'll be a defensive back battle. And like you said, because our offense is supposed to show up. If our offense has the potential to run all over the defensive backs potentially, but our defensive backs also have to do their job. This game, I think, will go back and forth. It could come. Likely will come down to the fourth quarter again if it plays the script. This is a tough one. I playing at home or home, quote unquote. I do think I will give Florida State the advantage. I think that they brought in a lot of quality depth on the defensive line, which they needed to do. The offensive line should be once again well developed. They have more bodies. They have some of these freshmen that have developed in the offseason, which should give them a lot more depth. Julian Armella and co. Now a year under their belt. I'm going to go with Florida State in a very, very coin flip type game, though. So I'm going to go with Florida State as well.
You know what this could come down to, KB?
Anything.
This
Literally
game
anything.
could come down to which defense has the best spy,
Yep.
on the quarterback. Because both these quarterbacks are going to run.
Yep.
And whoever the best spy is to limit that yardage, especially on third down scrambles.
Yep. Jayden Daniels
could be the difference.
Jayden had 114 yards. He averaged 7 yards per carry. And that really opened up their offense in the second half. His ability to break a play open.
Yeah.
And that obviously, then that changes how you play defense and open up the field more. So that's a totally great call, and they have to find a way to put a guy in, like you said, shut down that part of the game plan, which is going to be tough. But like you said, that's a great call. So we both pick Florida State in a very close game. All right, then we come back at home the next week, September 9th.
Well, let's say also, while we're still on the LSU thing, let's talk quickly about the implications, okay?
I don't see any implications.
Well, the implication would be if you win, it's not an implication. It's great. It's a great national game. It's going to be broadcast nationally. It's going to be a big crowd, big viewers, and so on. If you lose this game, right?
Yeah.
If it's close, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
If you get blown out, it is a big deal, and questions will be immediate. If you lose close, though, it's not a conference game. It does not affect the conference that you're in.
Yeah.
It only affects you nationally and or for playoffs nationally.
Yeah, I agree. You have to play competitive. In my opinion, Florida State, they're being put into the playoff conversation. I don't think that's necessarily fair. It's a 14 playoff again. It's going to be very tough to be in that conversation with the likes of Alabama, Georgia, in some of these top 4 schools. Now, if they get past LSU and they win that game comfortably, then I think they could run the table potentially. But like you said, you cannot get blown out in this game because that is a very bad sign of what could come. But they should not be blown out in this game. And if they do, there will be a lot of questions to be asked.
Well, Coach Norvell got asked today at practice. He got asked, he said, you are now ranked nationally, this is the word, of one of the most experienced players teams coming back this year.
You're not surprising anybody anymore.
And
You're not surprising.
The hype that's going with this team is tremendous. There's a tremendous burden on this team and coaching staff.
Yeah, you're no longer the underdog.
No.
You're no longer, the 3-5, 5-win Florida State team. Teams are going to expect you, and nobody's feeling bad for you anymore.
No.
You have to perform.
In fact, people hate you now.
Yeah,
especially in the ACC.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to have a huge target on your back every game, nationally, locally, and in the conference.
And they need to embrace being hated again, and they need to take it. So, all right, next week, Saturday, September 9th, at home at Joe Campbell against Southern Miss.
Tickets will be $10 and $12.
Yeah, ACC Network, 8:30. It's a night game, which is nice. A nice home game at night, even though it's against Southern Miss.
And that's good for attendance. Night games will be great for attendance and tally. It'll be a little bit cooler.
Yeah. Start with you.
A lot of the things I said above about our team, we're the most experienced, one of the most experienced teams coming back in the country. We're loaded on offense. We're going to start to really see how our defense, that's where I fear. I want to see the defense start to slowly mature, and gain strength. The defense should be dominating this game against Southern Miss. Yep. They have an inexperienced quarterback situation at Southern Miss. Southern Miss also is weak defensively. Their defense and offensive lines are going to be struggling. We should run all over this team. I see something like a 55, 60-7 score, and our backups are going to get in early. And we're going to start to gain experience reps for them, and especially for our quarterbacks. Whoever our backup is, Tate or otherwise, should get to see action. But Coach Norvell also knows that his quarterback, Jordan Travis, is up for a number of awards. So in this game, Jordan Travis needs to get his numbers quick, and he needs to get them early, because come the fourth quarter, he's going to be out of the game, because you don't want to risk an injury in a game like this. Florida State wins by a wide margin. Big win here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, this was a 6-win regular conference team. Not great offensively. This should be a rollover game for Florida State if they're locked in and ready to go. So, and I expect them to. They played a lot of those games well last year against Louisiana, to name another Sun Belt team who they destroyed. So they should come in, take care of business, and get out quickly. So I agree with your prediction there, and we'll put those 2 wins on the board. So we're both seeing 2-2 to start the season if everything goes according to plan, without anything major going on injury-wise, which You can't say. Before we move forward, Danby says, who has the better defense, FSU or LSU? I think it's tough to say that. I think I still have hesitancy over our defensive back situation. I really do. I think we don't have, aside from potentially Fentrell Cypress, I don't know if we have a game-changing defensive back. Jamie Robinson was the closest thing to that, but he wasn't that. But he made a lot of big plays last year. Maybe Fentrell becomes that, like I said, a game-changing type player, like a what's his name, Hamilton that was at Notre Dame. That guy literally changed the Florida State game a couple of seasons ago. Like we haven't had that type of player.
Ronaldo Green hopes to be that game changer this season.
I hope he can be, and I hope he can become that. I would love to see him become that, like you said. But I think too, linebacker wise, we're good but not great. We brought back, Tatum, who's a great, solid player. Kalen DeLoach, great, solid player. Once again, we don't have an all-star caliber, game-changing linebacker either. So defensive line, I think, is going to be a lot better. Defensive end is going to be very good, very potentially elite. I may give the edge to maybe to LSU, but I think they're very, very similar. I think they both may have some struggles in the defensive backfield.
I think we're going to learn a lot in that LSU game about both defenses.
Exactly.
We're going to learn it early, and we're going to learn about the depth because of the heat and the humidity.
And I do think both teams will get better from that point on.
Of course.
And both teams did get better from that point on last year. It's week one, it was week 2 for Florida State. And that's one thing to remember. Florida State doesn't have a tune-up game before this. They don't have a Duquesne to get some cleats in the field and start running around.
Right.
This is going to be the first game. And for some of these key players, like Winston Wright, who hasn't played real football in 2 years,
jitters, right?
Like it's going to take Florida State some time to get into that game. I mean, they started that game hot last year, and I think it was probably because they had that week 0 game against Duquesne. We need to remember this. That's a big thing to remember.
Sure, it is.
All right, then we go into Chestnut Hill on the road,
okay.
September 16th. Saturday at 12, a noon game, which kind of stinks to be on the road for in Boston College.
No. Why? Why September? It's not going to be cold up there.
No. I mean, you go on. It's just a noon on the road game. It's just that's.
Oh yeah, I hate noon games.
Yeah,
noon
games on the road games
suck.
Noon games suck. And for some reason, sometimes Boston College, for whatever reason, gives Florida State some issues at times on the road. But Boston College, once again. They very much struggled last year, but they lose their quarterback. Jerk goes to Pittsburgh. He transfers out, goes to Pittsburgh. So he is no longer there. They're going to be starting a new kid who I'm not totally familiar with. So you may be able to educate me there. But they were 3-9 last year. I'm not expecting big things out of them. Once again, this is somewhere that you should go. Them starting a new quarterback, kind of retooling that offense. Rebuilding from the ground up from a 3-9 season with a new kid, you should be able to go in there and take care of business on the road. Once again, if you are who you think you are, you should not be struggling with Boston College at all, even on the road. This should be what it was like last season, where you blew them out 44-14. Let's just say what it is. What are your thoughts? So I'm not gonna waste a lot of time. I'm just gonna say Florida State wins big.
Okay. The weather is not going to be an issue.
Yeah,
it's going to be wonderful weather. If you want to go up to New England and see the fall leaves, and it's going to be beautiful weather. It's still going to be hot as humid down here. There's no doubt. But great weather, not an issue. We won't need the heavy jackets. Depth is going to win this game. Florida State has extremely better depth than Boston College. Our defense will have taken any licks it did, start to mature. The rotations will settle down on who can play, who can't play. In this game, Boston College has a weak offensive line. They're going to be trying to develop, coming out of a bad season last year. They lost their quarterbacks. And KB said he was a good quarterback, and he's a guy that could make a difference in a close game.
Yeah.
They're shuffling quarterbacks now. There's going to be inexperience there. Florida State wins big.
The only thing to caveat this game, this is their red bandana game, which is like the sentimental game for them.
Doesn't matter. Could be
like
blue,
I said,
black, pink.
Okay,
it doesn't matter.
okay. It is a sentimental game to them. It is a big deal, but I don't think it should matter.
My
Talent on the field.
birthday's sentimental, but when people don't send me presents, I don't care.
Okay, well, this is their 9/11 Heroes game. I'm just saying it shouldn't mean anything.
I get it.
But
It's in honor of a very good thing. It really is, and it's hope. It is initial motivation.
Exactly.
It's a locker room motivation. It's a week of practice motivation. It's when they come out of the tunnel motivation.
Well, and it guarantees it guarantees the stadium will be packed. That's the only thing. It will guarantee
but
the
it's
stadium
a small
will be packed.
stadium.
Exactly.
It's a small stadium.
They're going to show out.
Florida State shows up. They usually pack it anyways. It's not going to be a factor. And I'm not trying to degrade what the situation is. I think it's an honor. I think it's a big honor, but it's not going to factor into this game. That adrenaline's going to stay there for the first 5 minutes, and then it's going to dissipate.
Yeah. If Florida State keeps on the stays on the gas, this should
The better
be no
team
problem.
wins this game wide, and
Absolutely.
that's Florida State.
Absolutely. All right. Then we move on to the next week. You're still on the road, so 2 weeks on the road. You move on to Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina, September 23rd. You go to Clemson, and once again, number 9 team in the country, could be a little bit higher than that. They just keep in mind Clemson's schedule. They open at Duke. That's the only. That's the toughest thing on their schedule before Florida State. They open at Duke, Charleston Southern, Florida Atlantic, and then they get Florida State. So they, I will say everyone should watch the Duke game because Duke has a decent offense. And you're going to have to face Duke later on in the season. Riley Leonard at Duke could give Clemson some issues. He's a mobile quarterback. He ran for almost as many yards as Jordan Travis has. Ran for more, I believe, last season than Jordan Travis did. Almost, 3,000 yards passing. So I would see if this kid can give Clemson some issues, because that could tell you a little bit about Clemson's defense this year and what they do. If they blow Duke out, then you're like, okay, well, here we go. But that just to clue you on a game you should definitely highlight and watch week 1 after Florida State's on Sunday. But getting back, so you got Clemson you're on the road against Clemson. What are your initial thoughts on this matchup and what to expect in it?
Grillmaster, what is he? Those 2 games are the rest for the big week of 4, right? Is he talking about the Clemson game?
Those 2 are the rest for the big week 4 game.
Grillmaster, hit us again to clarify your comment. Okay, let's go to my thoughts on Clemson. Clemson's going to have a big crowd anyways. They always have a big crowd.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
and it's a tough ticket. That's a supply and demand ticket. It's not going to be cheap, and it's going to be packed.
Yeah.
The quarterback at Clemson, they're still not set on him, but I believe it's going to be Cade Klubnik. I think, unless he gets beat out.
No,
I think
he's the quarterback.
I think Dabo, though, doesn't sleep quite as well. He's still getting over the Lawrence thing. There's some new coaches. There's a new offensive coordinator because Dabo was concerned about last year's offense.
As he should have been.
The fan base is a little concerned that Clemson hasn't made the playoffs in a couple of seasons. This game is going to come down to points by these offenses. These offenses could trade a little bit back and forth on points until a defense steps up, breaks the serve. And I hope that's going to be the Florida State Seminoles, that we are maturing in our defense by this 4th game. Will Shipley must be limited. Will Shipley is probably the most valuable player on Clemson right now. He's going to be their MVP.
I think he's the best player in the ACC.
A bad season by Will Shipley or a bad game, if the Seminoles don't nullify him somewhat, you're going to have problems, okay? You're going to have problems. They always have an aggressive defense. They've got some really good talent on the defense. We will have to show strength up front against their defensive line. We win this game close, and it could come down to our field goal kicker, whoever that might be.
Yeah, I mean, last year was frustrating to watch that game. You were tied in the first quarter, and then I think Clemson proceeded to rip off 24 straight points between the second and third quarter before, you kind of clawed back into it in the fourth. That game was super frustrating. A lot of it had to do with Will Shipley just doing whatever he wanted. 6 yards per carry, 121 yards total. You just, between the defensive line and your linebackers, you just couldn't get to him. You couldn't put him on the floor. So, and you're hoping that the additions, Braden Fisk, Gerald Jackson, open up the edge guys to do what they do, and they hope that guys in the middle of the field have grown and developed more so that they can bring those guys down as well. So, yeah, I think this game is going to come down, can you contain the running game of Clemson? Also, DJ was able to he wasn't great, but he was efficient in 3 touchdowns and 203. I think this game will come down to is Cade actually a great quarterback? Is he able to drive this team towards victory? How much do we have to respect him, and how much disruption can our defensive line put on him as a young quarterback?
And you know what, Cade, he's going to be carrying a lot of pressure because the Clemson Tiger fan base is going to see, is this kid for real? Yeah. And if he loses or doesn't have a good performance against Florida State, there could be a change of quarterback.
Yeah.
Could be a change of quarterback for Clemson. I still see Florida State winning this close. Maybe a field goal.
And I believe this is the game that Florida State was basically afraid to kick field goals because they had lost trust in Ryan Fitzgerald. And so we didn't kick a single field goal in this game. And that's the thing. Do we come to this game afraid to kick field goals? We have to be able to put points on the board wherever we are in the field.
That's right.
And so there's a lot of factors that lead up to this game because you'll be 3 games deep into the season. And if things are kind of falling apart in your special teams and stuff like that, it'll be interesting. Well, I have reservations about this game, man. I really do. This will be, I think, the true barometer. Even if we lose LSU, I think this will be the true barometer of how well this team has grown if they can't get over Clemson. It's a tough one for me. It's a tough game for me.
We should be 3-0 coming into this game. You could be 2-1. If you lose to Clemson, now you're 2-2. Yeah. And the nation is going to light us up on you can't win these big games. So you've had all this hype. You can't beat your rival in the conference, and you can't beat a good nationally ranked team. There will be pressure because you're back to beating who again? Boston College, Southern Mississippi. You got to have either LSU or the Clemson game to start this season. Any loss to one of these teams has to be close. It can't be a blowout.
Yeah, Grillmaster. Yeah, that makes sense. So you get some rest before the Clemson game. Yeah, that's totally correct. You should be able to get some rest before.
Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks for that clarification. You're right.
Connectus DSIP announced, the offensive talent won't be the same as it was under Lawrence. That's totally true, and I agree with you there.
Control Shipley.
Yeah. Okay. Still young. Yeah. I don't know. I think this will really come down to, can our defensive line establish the line? Can they establish the line, put pressure on Klubnik, push Shipley into the back, keep him, make him have to make a move in the backfield as much as possible. Not have open lanes to decide where he wants to go, and limit his damage as much as possible. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to get hated for this.
Oh, boo! Boo! Everybody write in on KB.
I need to see our defensive line establish a real defensive line against Clemson. I need to see it. But I hope they do. And I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. Because if we beat Clemson, then I know we're back. If we beat Clemson, I know we're back. But I need to see this defensive line. I need to see them push the middle and establish the middle field and push up. They can't just hold it. We need to push the line forward.
The Clemson game is more important than the LSU game.
100%.
It's 100%. There's no argument about 100%. That because now you've gone into the kingdom and you've dethroned the king. Okay? Yeah. You've taken the king's crown off. And it is going to leave them with some chaos there.
Yeah.
Because, again, you might see them again later in the season.
B. Riley with some.
ACC.
Clemson's got a 3-loss team this year. We beat Clemson by 17. Somebody screenshot that. Someone screenshot that comment. 17 points we're going to beat them by.
I like B. Riley.
B. Riley,
man.
we'll come back to that comment. Remember that for the preview show. Let's remember that for the preview show and the post game. But I like that confidence. I like this confidence.
I do. But it's going to, hey, listen, it's a tremendous game given the hype on this Noles team. And for them to rock in there and get out of there with a win at Clemson, it's huge for the program. Because if we lose both to Clemson and LSU, I don't care how close the games are. You have 2 losses now.
And
you're going to be reeling a little bit.
And I'll say, for me, I still have like PTSD from Clemson. I know they're not as great as they probably were 3 or 4 years.
Dabo.
Yeah. I still have this like PTSD from Clemson. I know they're not as great as when they were with Lawrence and with Deshaun Watson. Like I still have this, talent. And you there's still that respect level until we do knock them off the pedestal. Like we have to knock them off the pedestal before I can get over it, right?
Well, I think too, KB, we're gonna clearly be able to grade our defense after this game for the first 4 games.
Yeah.
This game will really tell us how this defense will be. Because if we don't have a good defense, we're not going to go deep into big wins.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on.
However, wait, let me add one other thing. If we are scoring, again, at will in all these games, putting up 40, 45, 48, 50 points potentially, which this offense is geared for, then we have a chance in every game.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, if you go in and win both those, if you win LSU and then beat Clemson by 17 points, like B. Riley says, you're a top 4 team. You're a top 3 team playoff bound. Let's just be honest. If you beat LSU and then go in and beat Clemson at Clemson by 7+ points, you're in the playoff conversation.
You're only
who else? But no one else is on your schedule. No one else is on. You beat the 2 ranked teams. You beat the 2 ranked teams.
We haven't gone through the rest.
All right. Well, okay. Let's talk about. We're going to Virginia Tech. We're going to Virginia Tech.
B. Riley just said, "I told you guys, you don't listen." Write that, snapshot that too.
All right. So we get a week off. We get a bye week.
Good seeing you, B. Riley.
We get a week off September 30th, and then we go back, enter October, the first week of October. At home against Virginia Tech. It's been a while,
But that's a great bye too, September 30th. We've done 4 games. They're going to have a chance to get some downtime. The coaches will be working their asses off.
Yeah, you've been
trying to figure out, are we doing good? What do we need to correct?
Yeah.
And get ready to roll through the rest of the schedule.
Yep, you're at home against Virginia Tech. I don't think we've played Virginia Tech since Willie Taggart era, when we got blown out at home in his debut.
Yeah, the Hokies are not what the Hokies used to be. I think it's their 2nd year coach now. Is that Healy?
I couldn't tell you.
I can't remember.
I don't.
2nd year coach.
3-8 last year.
2nd, yeah, they're struggling. They're trying to find a path. This coach may be on the hot seat. If he doesn't get the 500, if he doesn't get the 6 wins into some kind of toilet bowl game, he could be looking at a different occupation. He could be out selling cars soon.
I don't know about that.
This game is an easy win for the Noles at home in Tally, and I will be at that game for sure.
All right.
I'm already holding the tickets, my friend.
There you go.
Already holding the tickets. So
yeah.
Unless something comes up, but no. But they have a very mediocre offense. They're trying to find some stability at quarterback. Their defense is questionable, but it's still Hokies. The Hokies have a proud tradition. If you've never been to a game in Blacksburg, Virginia, it's quite a treat. I mean, they fill the stands, and they really bring out their gobblers and all this other stuff. And it's quite an event, especially for a night
This
game.
is at home. This is at home, though.
No, I know. I said it. But if you've never been to a game in Blacksburg, I'm trying to say that their fan base is very excitable. They get behind the team. Easy win for the Noles. And our biggest thing there is get your backups in early, get those valuable reps for them, and avoid key injuries.
Yeah. Their offense was a mess. They were 13th in the ACC, I believe, in running last year. They lost 2 coaches to other programs. They lost Caleb Smith, their best receiver in Notre Dame. But they did bring in another guy, 1,000-yard receiver from Old Dominion, who's 6'2". So they have him in between Grant Wells and him. That's their only big threat to Florida State is Allie Jennings the third. But outside of that, unless they have a ground game going, this should not even be close, and I don't expect it to be. Once again, I'm going to make this easy, go with Florida State in a game that should be 21 points plus.
And again, we're discounting any key Seminole injuries and weather, because weather can change a game too.
Yep. Cool. So let me go back through the old John. But I hate Clemson. I'm from South Carolina, 40 minutes from that top of a campus. We have to win that game.
Wait a minute, Mr. Murray. Now I've been to Clemson. I've been down there. I didn't think it was that bad. Now I only was there, I don't know, a couple of days.
He lives there, so I'm going to give him the insight.
Oh, he says 40 minutes from that.
Okay, well, how long are you? How far are you away from that?
No, I'm a long ways. But I'm just saying, I didn't think it was bad, but I get it. Now we'll give you a little shoulder there for that one,
Yeah, and Murray, we said that earlier. One of these will be closer than people think because, like you said, FSU will be hunting instead of the hunter. I literally said that in the beginning. You're totally right. No one is feeling sorry for Florida State. Florida State's not the 5-win team anymore. No one wants us to win these games anymore. They want to beat Florida State again, like you said. So that is totally the right statement. I totally agree with you on this. It's totally right.
Hey, but I don't think the Clemson fans are going to be neighing and booing at Florida State because they want to get out of the ACC. Guess who wants to get in the boat with us? Clemson. Yeah, come on. So they just were afraid to kick the door down. Yeah. We kind of sent the SWAT team in first, and now everybody kind of wants to follow in. You know, the guy that bashes the door, then everybody else hustles through.
Yeah,
there'll be more. And in a show, I think coming up this weekend or something, we'll be talking about that. Don't miss that show. There's going to be high energy coming.
Yeah. All right. Weekend, Saturday, October 14th. Florida State is still at home against the Orangemen of Syracuse. This is going to be both these games for Jam-Tech Syracuse are to be determined game times, but they will be that Saturday. So October 14th. Yeah, you got Syracuse, Florida State. This is probably a noon game, 3 o'clock game. Yeah, who are you picking?
You know, Syracuse is an interesting club. I mean, they've provided
I would hate to be that team, though. They're always 6 wins, 7. They're always like on the bubble.
They're a stepping stone program. Yeah. Except when they had Jim Brown playing there. If any of you remember Jim Brown, an NFL Hall of Famer, you know, and there were other guys there. Ernie Navers was there. I mean, there were some really good players, but they don't have enough of them. Now, their coach is still a pretty good guy. He gets them up, he gets them trained, he gets them practicing. But this is going to be a win for Florida State at Tally. Okay, a good game to get to. They're always Syracuse is always ready to play. We have to avoid getting complacent. We have to avoid making mistakes that allow this type of team to hang around. We should be scoring enough points. Our defense, at that point, we're going to know our defense should be good enough, take care of business, and continue to build our win streak. Undefeated, Seminoles win this one.
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse has a gauntlet before they face Florida State. They play Clemson, at North Carolina, and then at Florida State. So they got to face 3 of the top ACC teams in a row. If they don't come in banged up after that, and these are no bye weeks in between. So if they don't come in banged up, they're just going to be tired, and maybe they pull in an upset of those 2 teams. But I don't think, like you said, this is going to be a tough stretch for them. And I'm going to go with Florida State just for that alone.
Our program cannot handle any more defeats by teams that have no ability to pull something like that. We can't have the Jacksonville States anymore. You can't build a program and lose to these teams that are 5-6, 6-5 every year. You can't do it. But it is the game of football, and you do have to show up.
Absolutely. So,
and I think Mike Norvell does a good job focusing the team game by game. It's the reason you can't look ahead. You go game by game, and I like that.
And like you said, R.I.P. to Jim Brown, who passed away a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Jim Brown, one of the greatest football players of all time.
Yep. All right. Then we move forward. And
you know another famous player that came out of Syracuse? Larry Zonka. Larry Zonka came out of there and with the Miami Dolphins, who was title town for a while. Great player. That guy was a beast. That's what I've been saying. We need a fullback that's a beast that can get that final 4 yards.
I would love to see some more fullback play. I think it may come back with how the NFL is treating running backs. They may have to go back to more fullback in the NFL. So.
Mike Norvell, you know what one of his additional jobs is? Coaching our fullback.
I love when they put the big man
Well, he better go out and be a better recruiter of fullbacks because he ain't getting one.
Well, who'd we use last
year?
We
had Big James Coleman. Remember James Coleman?
And Lonnie Pryor.
Lonnie Pryor. We had some bangers, man. We had some bangers. You know who they said they might use for that 4 yards?
Biscuit?
Jaheim Bell.
I could see that.
He's
a big man.
You only need 3 or 4 yards. You need a guy that can bang up in there.
B. Riley says, healthy Schrader with Orlando Gadsden. This one could easily be tested with a sleeper at noon. But this isn't a trap game because who they face the way trap games are, And that's who we're going to talk about. I can't believe Schrader's still there. That guy's been, I feel like, a long time. And they don't have Sean Tucker this year, but he was kind of banged up, I believe, last year. Or they just didn't know. They didn't even use Sean Tucker last year, which was weird. But
that was weird.
That was a weird game. But Schrader was messed up. But like you said, B. Riley, I don't know how he goes through Clemson and UNC. They just have a tough lineup before our game. So, and speaking of trap games, which I've spoke about, which I think is our biggest trap game this season, you go from Syracuse, still at home, our homecoming game, October 21st, at home, you bring in the 10-win Duke Blue Devils. Old man, what are your? I have my own thoughts on this. I'll express, but
I'll give you my thoughts on it right away.
All right.
Let me start slow. Florida State wins. Florida State wins.
Okay? You don't know anything about Duke. You don't know anything about Duke.
I do too know about Duke.
All right,
the only thing I like, here's the things I like about Duke. But Florida State wins this game.
Okay, I'll put you on the board. They're
not going to put your schedule on the line of Duke. I mean,
we lost to Wake Forest last year.
I don't care about last year. Now listen. Hold on, listen. They're well coached, Duke. Well coached.
Yeah.
They're a smart team. They work the basics. They don't make mistakes. Yep. They don't get fancy. They're not doing double flips when you need 2 yards. Okay? They play smash mouth football. They don't have the talent that Florida State has. They don't have the talent that a lot of teams have. They make the best with what they've got. Okay?
Yep.
They have an experienced quarterback. I like that. This Riley Leonard. This guy can put up some numbers. If you don't get after him, he can put up some numbers, but he's not going to be able to match those numbers that Florida State's going to put up. And our defense is going to make him run. He's not a super runner. They're going to put him in positions he doesn't like. Florida State wins, period.
Okay.
And I don't see it as that close.
I think, like you said, Duke's defense was still mediocre at best. New coach last year, Mike Elko, did a hell of a job turning that program around in 1 year. He had to replace his defensive coordinator again, which is never easy after 1 year. After you did pretty well, but they gave up almost 7 yards per pass last year, which is a lot against Florida State. Which is, if you give up that much, you're gonna have a long day. I think the only thing that keeps this potentially close is that offense. I mean, Riley Leonard, Florida State's had some tendencies to struggle with mobile quarterbacks, like we saw with Jaden Daniels, like we saw in the bowl game against Oklahoma. Like, Florida State can have trouble with multifaceted quarterbacks who can run and pass the ball efficiently. And Duke's brought in Al Blades from Miami, who didn't get to play a lot with Miami, kind of struggled, but he has the talent to be a good defender. They also bring back the majority of both their all their offensive players, receivers, top receivers, and their offensive line, which is one of their strengths. Miami, or Duke, the only way that they can make this competitive and make this a potential upset is by making this a shootout. And I believe if we come into this game struggling defensively, like I said, if our defensive backs aren't playing to the level that they should be playing at, Riley Leonard could put up 25, 30 points on this FSU defense, potentially. Do I see that? I give that maybe a 10% chance of happening, but it could happen. Of all the teams we play on the schedule, of all the quarterbacks we play on the schedule, he's probably the 2 or 3 that could maybe do that, make that happen. Now, I put that likelihood at 10%, so I'm going to go with Florida State with the win, because the higher likelihood of winning this game has to go with Florida State. But that is a game that you have to highlight and say, of all the quarterbacks on the schedule, Riley Leonard's the most experienced and has the most capability of ripping up the defensive backs on this team, in my opinion. Of either running all over the field or throwing it deep on them. It's between him, Cade, and the kid out of LSU. Those 3 are the top quarterbacks on this on the schedule so far. So, and Duke could be the one that they potentially may overlook. But I have to give Mike Norvell credit. I don't think this team overlooks opponents. I think they prepare every single week. It's not like the old regimes where you're going to look over. I think they'll come in prepared every single week, and they won't potentially. Are not going to overlook this Duke team just because of the logo. They'll come in prepared, and they'll respect what Riley Leonard has, but he's a talent, and we got to be prepared. This is going to be a close game, maybe for the first half. So, but I'll pick Florida State.
Okay.
All right. Enough. So we go. Let's get William. Do we get KJ Bolden? I honestly don't know, and that's a whole recruiting question. I try to stick away from July recruiting. We do some videos on it. KJ's tough.
He's a 5-star guy.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And
everybody's interested.
Yeah, and it's tough. At UGA. What I'll say with it, I'm just glad we're in the conversation once again. Being in the conversation with the likes of Georgia for 5-star guys means we're on the right path back, right? Because even if we don't get the initial recruitment, we'll be in the battle till December, that means. Or if we don't get him in December, transfer portal, right? He doesn't play his first year, he may say, hell, I had a great effing relationship with Mike Norvell. I like that guy. That's a true guy. I'm going to come over to play for Florida State because they need some help on the back end. So, I can't give you a definitive answer, William.
Well, I'll tell you what the crystal ball is.
Yeah,
William. The crystal ball is he's a big lean towards Georgia. You know, but as KB said, if he goes there and is not getting playing time right away because that's what he thinks he's not patient. He could jump out. Florida State does a great job maintaining contact with kids.
Yes, they do.
Why would you follow
authentic relationships?
Authentic relationship for 2 or 3 years, then you don't get the guy. You should call him up and say, best of luck to you, and we'll be following your career. We think you have great talent, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah. So
you build a friendship.
But being at the table means something nowadays. Just being at that table in the final 2 or 3 actually means something nowadays with the transfer portal. So that's our thoughts. Eli says Duke beats Clemson. Okay, that's a big pick there. Loses Notre Dame. Coin toss to NC State, but they could be a 1-loss team when they head to Tally. And at that rate, if they do what you say, they could be ranked too. So that could be a very big primetime. That could be flexed into, a primetime game.
Duke becomes our greatest challenge this season. We are not the team that everybody's talking and writing about. This is a joke. You're building a national program, and if you lose to Duke, it's a problem.
And you are right, Grillmaster. I have that mixed up because I was just about to announce that. You're right.
Wait.
As we go into wait for I know. I'm gonna change it. Relax.
Change it
Relax. God. All right. So we leave Duke, which, like I said, is tough, and Birelli says it could be a ranked game. We go okay, let's move on. We go October 28th, Saturday, in Winston-Salem against the Demon Deacons.
All right, I'm going to start slow.
I don't know have we beat them in the last 2 years?
I'm going to start slow. You know who we're going to beat? We're going to beat that damn Deacon that comes out on that motorcycle. We're going to knock his butt off that motorcycle, grab the motor. I watched somebody in the fans, one of ours, jump over the fence, knock that guy's head off, grab that motorcycle and just drive it around. Drive it around on the field. They're doing some wheelies. Because guess what? We're going to be doing wheelies all over Wake Forest. And you know why?
No Sam Hartman? No Sam
Hartman. That's the bottom line. Thank God he left. Thank you. Thank you, Sam Hartman, for understanding your next level is not going to get you from Wake Forest. It's going to be Notre Dame. So Sam Hartman leaves Notre Dame. They're going to have to get a new quarterback. They don't have the talent of a Florida State. They don't have the talent of a lot of teams. And Florida State is going to go in there. They're not going to lay an egg. In fact, what they're going to do, they're going to chew it up, and they're going to come home with a big victory over Wake Forest.
Nelson and I, were we talking this long about beating Duke in football? Not anymore, but we were.
No, he's right. Why are we talking about that? It's ridiculous.
We're off it.
No. You know what? Who was that? He said, you guys still talking about that? You know what? Yeah, are we still? Noles, 99. If we lose to Duke, we're going to be talking about it a long time on that show. Get to that reaction show.
Thanks, William. We appreciate it, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate that, William.
Wake Forest. Sam Hartman was 3-1 in his career against Florida State. That's a damn good percentage. He was a Florida State demolisher. And now
you don't think Mike Norvell, when he saw he transferred out, said, "Oh."
Hell, the Battle's End may have sent Sam Hartman some money to leave.
No, Battle's End sent money to Notre Dame to recruit him, an extra bag of money.
I wouldn't. That's rumor. Unverified rumor. But yeah. If we don't beat the damn brakes off, then I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
We all will.
Join us for that reaction.
Duke and Wake Forest. But yeah, new quarterback. Sam Hartman's out. He's at Notre Dame. Yeah, I regardless, Wake Forest tanked towards the end of the season last year too. I mean, they
got a good coaching staff.
Yeah. It's not that. It's not even that. It's a very college-oriented offense. This isn't something you're going to run in the NFL, but it's a very system-oriented. So they can plug and play guys in it. Like, they bring a new quarterback. Florida State's still, I think, defensively going to have a little bit of issue with it because you don't have to be... I don't think Sam Hartman's necessarily an NFL quarterback. I think it's... No.
Oh, sure he is.
No, he's not.
Sure he is.
No, he's not.
Well, he's a little...
We'll find out. We'll find out at Notre Dame.
He's a little undersized,
but what they run at...
got a good arm he's smart.
What they run at Wake Forest is not a pro-style offense.
You know what? Wake Forest's offense, much like Georgia Tech's, much like Navy's, much like Army's, is built around the people they have in the
Absolutely,
system.
And that's what I meant.
They don't try to force something down the throats of players who can't run it.
That's literally what I said. And that's what I'm saying. They can bring a new guy in, and they can still hum. Now, they may not hum at the same, because you have to be accurate with the ball. You have to, you have to know how to run with it. So I think, like I said, it's not going to be run at the same efficiency. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too quickly, But they beat Memphis in the bowl game, whatever. I'm gonna go with Florida State. I'm not gonna go deep into this. This is a game you have to win, regardless. It doesn't matter.
You have to win.
If they can't be freaking Wake Forest, then Mike Norvell needs to reevaluate his tenure at Florida State.
Back in my day, and before my day in the '60s, you know who they brought in for homecoming? Based on the belief you want to have a good time at homecoming, you want to beat the hell out of somebody. You know who they would bring in? Wake Forest.
Which
Wake Forest
makes sense. And then, we need to be reevaluating our life if we can't beat Wake Forest anymore.
You can't. You can't.
You're not back. You're not close to being back. All right. So then we go into gotta get through these two comments. Put up a bare minimum of 42 on Wake Forest, and I'll be happy.
Let me say something, Grill Master. I need to replace my, the burners in there. But, they want as much for a burner as you can buy for a whole new grill.
Grandmaster, do you have a promo? Do you have a promo code for grill repair? We need grill repair in the chat too. Yeah, dude, grill master, grill repair.
You can't be a good grill master, man. Okay.
Google Demon Deacon Parents Day. Those people are weird.
What? No. Hey, let me say this. Let's not leave Wake Forest yet. Okay, Wake Forest. They do that when that demon comes out. You know, the guy with the big head and stuff. You know, the hat on the motor. That's a deacon. That's it's supposed to be a pastor, a church deacon. Okay, because Wake Forest and Winston-Salem they were. It's a very kind of, or used to be a very religious community. But when he comes out on that motorcycle, if you've never seen it there, and he leads the team out at night, it's kind of cool. It's not like Osceola and the Spear, but it's kind of different. It's kind of fun to see those things.
I'll have to look that up. And I've been to Wake Forest. I have some friends at Wake Forest. It's a cool school. I when I was younger, I went to basketball camp there when Chris Paul was there. It was cool. It was.
How'd that work out?
I didn't become a college or high school basketball player, but it was fun.
Chris Paul said, "Come on, man,
it was cool.
Bring it on.
I gotta see him before he got to the NBA. It was cool." Was Riley Skinner undefeated against the Noles? No. So we beat Walford, or whatever his name was. I don't know if Riley Skinner, he was damn good too. But that's what I'm saying. That offense is tailored to build quarterbacks in it. Like, that's what kind of scares me, is you could basically throw a guy in there, and if he's decent, he looks like a star in it. And that's why I'm thinking, I don't know if this guy going to Notre Dame, we're going to find something out about him at Notre Dame, because they don't run that gimmicky crap there.
No, he can throw the ball.
Even the mascot gets parents. It's just...
That's pretty fun.
All right. So we move on from Wake.
Right along.
So we go to November 4th.
Let's do a marathon tonight on the midnight.
We go to November 4th on the road in Pittsburgh to face the Panthers, which I may go to that game. Last Pitt game I was at. Was
kind of a cool city.
It was a very cool. It was a really cool experience. The last game I think we played against Pitt on the road, and I didn't know at the time I didn't know until we were walking up to the stadium was Jameis Winston's freshman first ever game, and then
he lit it up.
The fans there were so pissed. He was just throwing it all over. The game was over by I think the second quarter. Essentially, we walk out. I check my phone and realize he's thrown for like 400 yards and 4 or 5 touchdowns, and that was like the christening of him as the next big thing. It was unbelievable. Like, we couldn't believe it. That was like Labor Day weekend. It was amazing. And it was such an unbelievable experience. But right on the wall there, you can walk across the bridge to the stadium. Really cool experience. So I may go up to that game on nowhere. It won't be too cold, hopefully. So
Okay. Yeah. Good transition there.
Yeah.
Might not be too cold. Maybe it is too cold. Maybe it's sleeting. Maybe it's raining.
November 4th? No, it won't.
It could be.
No, it's not. I live up here. I live here.
Have you ever heard of climate change?
Oh, my God.
Have you ever heard of climate change?
No, I live here. So.
That means climate's change. So for November, it could be a
It's not.
snowstorm.
Okay, relax.
You don't know.
Relax.
Okay, here we go. Phil Jurcevic brings his roadshow from Boston College to Pittsburgh.
I'm
not
scared.
Despite what you say, he's kind of a gunner. He makes mistakes. I know what you're going to say.
He made a lot of mistakes last year.
He's not a Brett Favre, but he can put up some numbers. If
he did last year.
He can put up some numbers, but he can also throw interceptions.
Yeah.
Phil Jurcevic is one of the more experienced, I didn't say superstar, more experienced quarterbacks we're going to see. He's going to be playing at home. They're going to know this is a big game. They've got this one circled. Florida State's coming in undefeated. They're going to play Pittsburgh. Hopefully Pittsburgh will have a good record. We want our opponents to have a good record. You know why? It starts to show up in the playoff committee's thinking. You know, we don't want to be playing teams that can't beat anybody.
So and
we'll get a night game, national telecast potentially. Hold on a minute. He's a legitimate threat in a close game. He can deliver the ball down the field. I have this as upset alert. Upset alert. But I picked the Noles in a close one here, closer than most people will think. It's going to be a good game. So I'll take the Noles in a close one at Pittsburgh.
All right. Noles on the road. You pick them. No, I don't think this will be a pushover game. And to your point, they'll have to face North Carolina in September, late September. They'll also, the week before, they'll have to go on the road to South Bend and face Notre Dame. I don't know if Notre Dame's going to be real. They're a top 20 team to start the season.
Be real.
And then we'll find out.
They're going to win every game, but Notre Dame has plenty of personnel. They have good coaching, and they got a good quarterback.
Then we'll know.
Whether he goes to the NFL or not is immaterial.
Okay,
he's a good college quarterback.
Then we'll fucking know who they are before the Florida State game. So you've got your point. Then we'll know who they are before the Florida State game, and then we'll know. Okay, are they legit? Can they beat Notre Dame? Can they compete with Notre Dame? If they can't, then we should roll them over. It's as easy as that. So watch the 3:30 game on NBC on October 28th.
Is that already slated?
Yes.
You already have the time?
Yes, because it's on NBC. So yeah, 3:30, October 28th. Pencil that game in. Watch Pittsburgh versus Notre Dame.
What channel is that on?
Peacock, NBC.
Peacock, NBC. Well, we'll talk about that in another show.
Yeah. Well, I gotta update you on
how
technology.
How many premium subscriptions do I have to have? That'll be on another show.
Yeah.
You know what?
So okay. Well, I can educate you on new technology
never
later.
Mind. Okay. Who are you picking?
I'm picking Florida State. Once again, this is a team they have to beat. They have the talent to beat them. You know what Phil does. You know how he plays. You can game plan around him. And they're going into a tough matchup the week before. They should be a little bit banged up on the road, going on the road. You got to beat this team.
Well, also, you got to beat this team if, according to you, we've already lost one game to Clemson. You can't have two losses, okay, to get to the championship game. Unlike, I don't know, maybe you could get two losses and still be the best second-place team to play, because we're not in conferences anymore. It's one long list. The top two go to the championship game. As far as I know, if it's tied, I don't know what the tie maker is. What's it, head-on-head competition?
Yeah, I just don't. Phil doesn't really. He doesn't really scare me as much. And to B. Riley's point, he was banged up last year, and he did play through it as much as he could.
Isn't to be slept on. I agree with B. Riley on that. They're well coached. Pittsburgh. We've never gone into Pittsburgh and really blown them out that much.
I just gave you an example of when we did.
Okay. But not worried. I agree. Okay. That's all right.
All right. And then...
once, who was the greatest
that's true.
Pittsburgh quarterback? That's not pros, college for Pittsburgh.
Pros?
Yeah, pros. No. Best University of Pittsburgh quarterback ever. And he played against the Noles in Tallahassee. And I listened to it. It goes way back.
Well, most of our audience is 80.
To it. I'm telling a story. I listened to it on an AM radio.
Okay, here we go.
Dan Marino.
There you go. Oh, B. Riley got it.
No, yeah, that's Dan Marino played in Tallahassee. It was a great game. Great game. And I can't remember who won. I think Florida State won. Didn't they, B. Riley? Look that up. I think they won that game.
Now you owe him
It was a close game. It came down to like a field goal, I think. Yeah,
are we giving away free Teslas for the incorrect answer?
In fact, if I'm correct, one of our greatest defensive backs ever at Florida State, nobody's going to know his name, he went on to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see who knows this one. I'm not going to reveal it. Who was a great defensive back for Florida State going way back? I think he played against Dan Marino in Tallahassee. Who was it? If you can't give me an answer quick, I'll tell you in a minute. And he played for Pittsburgh.
Agreed.
No, he played for the Pittsburgh Steelers for many years prior to any free agency and was a really good player. So let's see if anybody comes up with it. Okay, you meet us. Okay. Anybody got the Florida State defensive back I'm thinking about? No. It was a turnover. Yeah, it was. It was a great game. The cornerback I'm thinking about for Florida State Noles, J.T. Thomas. Look it up. J.T. Thomas starred for the Pittsburgh Steelers for many years in their secondary. Great Florida State.
Is this the game?
Yeah, it probably is. It was early in Bobby Bowden's career. Yeah. What a game. And it wasn't on TV that I'm aware of.
No, is this 1982? Was it 1982?
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been.
I can't tell. I can't. It's just so bad.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's Dan Marino right there.
I want to throw a pass.
Number 13. Yeah, 13. Dan Marino. There he is. Miami Dolphins' greatest player. Oh, he could light it up. All right. Take it down. But J.T. Thomas, one of our greatest defensive backs ever at Florida State. Great player.
That was a great pass.
Yeah. Okay. Did you put in your call on this one? Yeah. Okay. Takes us into.
Yeah. Noles 99 got it. Thomas. He said Thomas.
Hey, guess who's got tickets to the next game? Guess who's got tickets?
No. Noles 99 said it first. He did say it first. He
said J.T. Thomas?
He said Thomas. Yeah, he had said Thomas.
You got it. You got it. He got it before I said it?
Yeah, he got it before you said it.
I'm going to go back to the tape later and make sure, Noles.
He said,
Hugh Green. Yeah. Hugh Green. Great NFL star. Keith, way to go. Good play.
Yeah, good call out, Keith. Good call.
Okay, let's go on. Next game, guess, at home, Tallahassee, the Miami Hurricanes.
I'm not reading that, B-Round.
And their crappy fans come in. They are some real. FSU beat Marie. There you go. Yeah, great. Yeah. That was it. Yeah, it was a rain game. Yeah.
I have to watch that.
Till dog. Yeah, you can go back on YouTube
yeah.
And watch that game.
Yeah, that's right. All right here. Yeah, that's great.
Hey, and the referee still sucked. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right.
We're moving on to the next week. So we both got Pittsburgh losing to Florida State at home or at home at Pittsburgh. No, Florida State beat Florida State. Yeah. Florida State beat Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Then we move forward. We move forward to Miami rivalry week.
Yep.
November 11th. So no bye at home against Miami. I think this should be pretty clear. I don't know. I mean, we know what Miami is. It's not like they had some huge turnover. You still got Mario there. You still got same TVD still there. They had a good amount of transfers out, some transfers in. Gerald Jackson is now with Florida State, so one of their best defensive linemen. Look, we'll find out if we get the waiver or not. But
hey, I want to. What I don't understand. Okay, we're talking about Gerald Jackson just for a second. The NCAA still has not weighed in. Okay, I mean they haven't come with the official announcement. Unbelievable to me, and I've tweeted on this or X'd on it or whatever they call it now a lot. It's ridiculous that they will allow a kid to move from Miami to Tallahassee to be on the football team, to practice, right, and do everything else, enroll in classes, and blah blah blah, and they still haven't cleared it.
Yeah,
it shows how stupid the NCAA. How long a process could this be? This is as long as some of the processes and investigations in Washington are taking.
Well, no,
it's crazy. It makes no sense.
He's practicing
about a medical thing.
Yeah, he's practicing, which is I mean, it is very weird, but it's the NCAA. Okay. You don't expect efficiency with the NCAA.
I had the vent.
So I'll start first. I would have to expect this game to be a little bit more competitive this year. I mean, Miami was trash water last year. We went into this game last year. TVD we knew was very much banged up. He only threw 8 passes last year. TVD is a decent player. He's not a bad quarterback, but he went into that game, ribs and injury, and Florida State went at him hard. That defensive line was on him. And drove him.
Slammed him the
ground. Verse and company made his life hell, and they knocked him out of that game permanently. And then they put in Jake Garcia and Zakhari Brown, and they made their lives hell as well. So credit where credit's due. Florida State they forced him out of that game, and they made Miami's life hell. Ontario Wilson makes a huge play. to start the game and knocks the roof off of Miami Gardens. You take the crowd right out of it. All those things are still possible. I think Florida State will still be able to throw all over Miami whenever they want to. They'll be able to establish the round game. Miami won't be able to defensively stop Florida State at all. Now, do I expect Miami to do a little bit more offensively? Absolutely. But this is Florida State's game to lose. They will have to turn over the ball numerous times. They will have to miss field goals. They will have to shoot themselves in the foot for this to be an upset. So I'm going with Florida State easily. It will be Florida State's game to lose. They will have to self-inflict so many wounds. That's the only way they lose this game. Miami can't beat them. It's on Florida State to lose it.
And you're picking?
Florida State.
Okay. In-state games, in-state rivals scare me. Okay? They scare me. I don't care, home and away, whatever. Now, we catch them at home.
Yep.
I have tickets. I will be there. Watch for me there. Okay? In-state games, anything can happen. I mean, I've seen teams, in-state teams, that Florida or Miami, they're not having a good year, where the other team's having a good year, and it's like equal, because these kids all played with each other. They want this game for bragging rights, recruiting rights, no matter what. You could be having a bad season. You win this game, it's a big deal. It's always circled on the calendar. For that reason, even though I think Miami's a little bit of a dumpster fire, they may be one of those smaller dumpsters, not the big one, you bring to rehab the whole house. They have some problems. This is a very big game for Mario Cristobal. If he gets beat up in this game, he's really in trouble. It could cost him. It could cost him if he's not having a great season. It could cost him his job. I think this is going to be a little bit closer than you think. I think it could be a 10-point game. It could come down to a field goal in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. It could come down to a field goal, even though we're playing in Tallahassee. I hope for good weather.
Yeah.
I'm picking Florida State to win this game because I think Miami has raw talent with potential, but it's not organized.
Yeah.
Florida State wins this game.
Yeah. Great points. They brought in 2 new offensive linemen, 5 starters, freshmen, transfer. They've tried a new offensive coordinator too. I expect the offense to be better, but like you said, it could be a lot closer offensively. I agree, but it's Florida State's, I agree, to lose. But to your point, if Florida State blows them the hell out of the water, this could be Cristobal's Willie Taggart moment. You get let out by your rivals too many times, you're gone. You're gone. So
if you got a bunch of Noles at the end of the game with 10 minutes to go and they're jumping up and down and laughing and stuff like this, Mario could be in trouble.
Yeah. You literally named everything has done the passive loose to those bad juju. I know.
No, I don't believe. No. I don't believe in all that.
Just look at the Florida game last year. They came to play despite the injuries for them. Nobody. No, you're right, Grillmaster. That is a great point. Florida. How many players? You're totally right, Grillmaster. Right. No excuses.
That's what I'm saying. In-state games are a different animal.
Yeah.
But
he's saying Florida came into that game despite everything, and they made that game close. Miami,
that's what I'm saying.
Miami didn't play. Miami didn't play last year.
But what I'm saying is, I've been listening, watching, or attending Florida or Miami games since the 60s. I started on AM radios listening to these, and they're exciting battles. You know this is an experience, listening to one of these games or watching at home, wide right, wide left. We've had to wear that collar so many times. If we have another one of those in an in-state game,
Yeah, I don't think it'll go that way, but you never know, like you said. And B. Riley says, Miami's O-line is only 6 or 7 deep. I know where they'll be playing Jack. No, and you're right. They're very much in the Florida State situation of a couple of years ago where they're having to rebuild from the bottom up, bring the freshmen in, bring transfers in. So you're right. It's very if they get some injuries, they're done for. They're back to square one. So you're totally right.
Right.
Key says, "Yep, listening on the radio is pretty suspenseful. Yeah, especially the days of Gene.
It is.
Especially the days James was great. I like the new guy though. He's pretty good. What's the new guy's name on radio? Colin or Colane or what is his?
Colhane.
Yeah, I like him. He's good. But radio makes it
but nobody, Jeff Colhane, no disrespect, nobody replaces the great one and only Gene Deckerhoff. He has some of the most infamous calls going.
Absolutely.
And we do miss him.
He still does the Bucks,
to Jeff Cohane.
He does Bucks though, right?
He did. I don't know if he retired from the Bucks yet or not.
I thought he did last season. But,
I don't know. Yeah,
all right.
He left. Okay.
Yeah. So we move on from.
Well, let me go to Keith there for a minute. Keith.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't experienced listening to a game on the radio, you know what? It's so hard to find a radio station you don't have to pay for.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I used to just dial it up. It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
The Florida State one you get on your phone for free, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to Seminoles app, the Florida State official Seminoles app, and you can listen to it on there.
Yeah. Sometimes the ESPN, it's just annoying.
I can't listen to
the
those
announcers
people.
are annoying. It's annoying.
Horrible. Okay.
Sorry. So now we kind of go into a semi-bye week. You go against at home, probably a noon game, the North Alabama Lions.
Okay.
I frankly didn't know this was a football team until I saw them on the schedule. No offense to them. I had never heard of it. I didn't know it was a university. I'm not from there. I didn't know this was. I didn't know they have a football program.
North Alabama. Yeah.
I had never heard. I've heard of University of South Alabama, USA. I knew they.
Here's the bottom line. Let's get through this one. Okay, let's get through this one. There is absolutely no excuses to lose this game. You must win big. You must get your backups in. Get them more reps. And you must not have injuries to your key players in this game. All right?
Yep.
We must keep our plays base. We can be a basic offense here. We don't have to do anything fancy. And guess what? North Alabama gets out of this game. They get
paycheck.
A big, nice paycheck. Okay? And that's the name of the game.
Yeah, they're trying to build up the program.
I'm being honest.
Yeah, they're trying to build up the program.
I'm just being honest. They play Jacksonville State. Hey, listen, guys out there, North Alabama, watch Jacksonville State. They'll beat you.
Yeah.
All right?
They did last year.
That's what it is. Okay?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, you're playing a program
and
that
you know what?
1-10 last year.
See ESPN Plus. If we're not in the Big Ten or the SEC, we're going to be on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for another program.
Listening games are fun.
I think for this weekend, stay tuned.
Over under on this on 65 points against Grandmaster. It has to be. No offense.
Yeah.
They're 1-10. They were 1-10 last year. I don't know if the spread is out on them yet. I would say it's 65.
Under. I'm going to take the under. Why? You know why? Mike Norvell's not going to embarrass.
Yeah. No, you're right.
He's not going to do it. He'll run the ball if they can't stop our backups running the ball and our backup offensive lines.
You're right.
Then so on. Mike is not. They're probably going to shut them out. You know, these teams always get 7 points on a backup defensive, but he's not going to embarrass. Mike Norvell is not that type of coach.
No, you're right.
Dabo Sweeney is that type of coach. But Mike Norvell is not.
No, you're right. He's very good about not. He subs out guys pretty early. He stops passing the ball, and once he hits like the 40-point mark, even sometimes 35, it's 35-0. He'll pull guys and just start running the ball.
The pressure on Mike Norvell and coaching staff is if we're undefeated through this season, I picked this undefeated so far. Is how long do I leave my quarterback in there, Jordan Travis? How long? He's up for Heisman probably at this point if he's undefeated. How long do I leave him in there? They're going to try to get him a lot of yards quick.
Yeah, or do you need to put up style points if you're in the playoff race? You don't know.
Well, that's true too.
That's
you need true
to
too.
Blow out people.
Okay, but they don't want to see you abuse opponents.
No, this game,
Move on.
Backups in early.
And that game's in Tally, North Alabama. You can get a ticket for $10.
Yeah.
So everybody should show up.
Move on. We are going to Thanksgiving Thanksgiving annual game.
Yeah.
I believe this is Saturday. So last year was Friday, right? It was a cool Friday game.
This is on the 20th.
No, this is Saturday this year. It's Saturday this year. But last year it was a Saturday or Friday. It was that special Friday game, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, it'll be on whatever day and time the TV tells you to put it on.
Yeah. Florida on the road in Gainesville. It was a very unexpectedly tough game, but like you said, in these rival games, it's tough. But they were missing a lot of offensive talent, like 5 receivers last year out for that game, and it came down.
And they had an NFL quarterback, first-round draft choice, still there, and he put up some numbers.
Not in the second half, but definitely in the first half.
He was a first-round draft choice to the NFL, so he put up some numbers.
Yeah. They were not a good football. They were 6-5. 6-5 football team. 6-7 football team last year.
They're still trying to find their way, according to everybody.
So what do we? Let's start with you. What do you expect? I honestly don't know what this football team's going to look like.
Well, I think their quarterback situation is unknown. I think that hurts them. By the time they get to this game, they will have straightened it out. I think, but going into the season, they have an unknown at quarterback. That always tells me there's a weakness. That there could be point problems, putting points on the board. I think they have, like Miami, they have a lot of good quality potential, but it's kind of chaotic. It's kind of young. It's kind of raw, and it's unproven. Yeah. However, being in-state game, I always look for a 10-point game maybe, a 7, 10, 14-point game at the most. I see Florida State winning in Gainesville. And it could put their coach in a problem. Because when you lose in-state games, fans, boosters don't like you much. And you have some explaining to do. It's always tough. It's not going to affect the ACC results. We could roll in there losing to LSU and losing to Florida, and it doesn't affect our ACC championship potential. It kills nationally, would be out of the playoffs for sure. That wouldn't even be a consideration. But you could still compete for the ACC championship. But we're not going to be looking at that. We want to beat the Gators no matter what. I'm picking Florida State in Gainesville. Noles win.
Yeah, I think, once again, this is one of these games you have to win this year. You won it last year, barely, but you won it. This is the most loaded that Florida State will be. Next year is going to be a little bit of transition going away from Jordan Travis. This is you got to win this year. Florida's going through a transition. Second year coach, new quarterback, new pieces floating in and out, stuff like that. You got to take advantage of this, and you got to win this game, even on the road, right? Graham Mertz. Like people are saying in the chat, this guy is kid from Wisconsin is kind of what it's like the Hornibrook. You've had the Hornibrook experience. You've had the Wisconsin quarterback experience. You know what this is.
Wisconsin runs the ball a lot.
And I'm going to put this up. Matt Mertz is their start of the season. His career ratio is 38-26, not a typo. Exactly. You know what you're getting. You know what you're playing against. They know what they got. I think that is their biggest, and I'll keep it up, but you know what you're playing against. Mertz is not an explosive player. If they don't have a running game and they don't have an elite defense, this Florida team is going to be another 7-win team again.
We're gonna find out a lot in Game 1 on that Thursday night at Utah. Utah is going to be looking to make a statement nationally. It's going to be an 8 p.m. game, ESPN. Lots of people looking early in the season, and if the Gators don't show up for this, their coach is immediately on the bubble.
Yeah.
Then he's got to play Tennessee, who's not going to be easy at a 7 p.m. national game.
Yeah. I think the only advantage he has right now is that they're top 3 recruiting for 2024. But like you said, if they start losing games and getting blown out, that will change.
Those players aren't going to show up.
Exactly. So, and I think he made a fatal error in tying his future to Mertz, because this season could go down very, very quickly. Grillmaster this year, he says UF's going to get throttled this year like Miami did, and I think it could, because like you said, old man, as much as I think they underused or misused Anthony Richardson, he could make big plays just by himself outside of the offense.
And his legs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could just make them on the fly without going outside the offense. And now he has some accuracy issues, but he's a first rounder. Mertz is not a rounder. He's not getting drafted, in my opinion. Like, that is not the caliber of guy he is. And that's who, this coach tied this is who he's tied his season to, which is a mistake. So I will agree, even on the road, I believe that Florida State should win by 10 plus points. And that is what I'm going to do, is say Florida State wins this game by 10 plus points. And that, B. Riley says, this should be a blowout, just like Real Master, blowout akin to Miami as well. I think that's fair to say. I'm going to go back up a couple of comments here. How long do you think we keep Norvell if he wins ACC and gets us in the playoffs? I don't think he'll go. You think he goes somewhere else? I don't think he goes anywhere.
No. I understand what Noles is saying. We're going to talk about that in another show that'll be dropped this weekend. Okay. Because I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. These coaches, if we don't get out of the ACC and get into one of the two mega conferences, SEC or the other, these coaches will become a stepping stone program. But we'll talk about that on another program. But he has a good concern. Noles 99, you have a valid concern. Okay. Join us this weekend. We drop a show on this.
All right. They were able to get us last year because AR-15 really didn't see him being a problem. Yeah.
And that's not a rifle, the AR-15, okay?
Okay.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah. AR made some money against it. Yeah, like you guys said. He was cold in the second half, but that guy definitely made some plays by himself that kept them in that game.
He's
Absolutely.
Dangerous. He's dangerous.
B. Riley, I'm a very conservative person. I just have PTSD from the last 3 or 4 seasons of us not being able to finish games and not being able to do what we were supposed to do, right? For one team, I think based on that schedule we just looked at, you're probably right. Mertz, you're right.
No, listen, I've been in this game a long time. I've been in this game a long time.
That's a loss. Lost to them last year. That's probably a loss. That's a loss. That's a loss.
Georgia,
that's a loss.
LSU.
That's a loss.
Yeah,
you're probably right. It's a 4 to 5 win team. I haven't looked at their schedule in depth like this.
If they don't get to a bowl game, he's gone. Coach.
No, I don't know I don't know. Well, no, you might be right.
This is a fan base used to winning national championships in Florida. They're gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
They already don't like the guy.
How many times do I have to be right before you believe the old man?
Before you believe, old man.
Yeah. Well. Let's get a couple of weeks into the season. Then we'll change our tune.
Hey, B. Riley, I'm writing down your quote.
All right, so all right, let me go back to
this. This is a marathon show. This is the longest show ever.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I got them all. 8. We win them all.
So 12-0. 12-0.
We win them all. And guess what? We move on to the ACC championship game, and I'm going to say it's either North Carolina or Clemson. North Carolina or Clemson for the battle for the crown in Charlotte. That's
a whole other
which is all,
Charlotte's such a crap.
Yeah, why do they have it there all?
That's another reason.
Of the ACC.
That's another reason why we have to get out of this conference.
Okay. So the bottom line is we move on to the championship game. Are you willing to pick, or you want to wait?
No, let's wait. Let's wait. Because we don't know who the opponent is. We don't know who the opponent is.
No, that's true. We don't know.
I think, like you said, I think it could be, because it's, like you said, the top 2. I think it could be UNC. I think it could be Clemson. I think it potentially could be Duke. I think it could be.
Let's not get into hypotheticals.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm sure.
I hope it's Duke or Wake Forest.
All right. So you have 12-0. I have 11-1.
Yep.
I mean, there
you go.
All right, there you go. So we'll get.
I'm not being soft. I'm not a hugger. I'm not soft. I see this team as loaded, ready to go, well coached, and unless injury takes down the starting quarterback. if injury takes down the starting quarterback, Jordan Travis, all bets are off.
We're going to have to do a reshift. We'll have to do a redraft of the schedule.
Because I feel we don't have capable quarterbacks to take us in. I'm just no disrespect.
No, I think
just telling you the truth. I don't feel it.
Okay. Growmaster says 2024 is even rougher for them. Napier's not going to make it through 23-24. Riley says Napier is safe-ish. His buyout requires them to pony up $16 million within 30 days. That's a good contract if you're. I like that.
These contracts are unrealistic.
I like that. If I'm him, that's a good negotiation. Whoever his agent is, that's a good negotiation.
I don't want to change sports, but Coach Hamilton for men's basketball is getting his final year because they don't want to buy it out. They don't want to have to pay that money. I think it's his final year. I mean, they're going to ride it out, and we're going to get slaughtered.
Keith, what year?
And I've said it.
Keith, what year was that when they had it in Jacksonville? I'm trying to think when they had the ACC championship.
Wow.
Jacksonville's a weird place, though, too. I feel like that's a weird... Like, they need to have it... That's a good question. Like, where would you want to have it if not in Charlotte? Where would you... maybe, like, Atlanta?
You know what? Keith is right, though. You know what it says, though? When you have an ACC championship and you can't fill it, it tells you your conference is third or fourth rate, and that's for another show.
Yeah, that's a good call, Keith. That's a really good call.
It's terrible.
I think Old Man is right. If UF gets destroyed in those losses, if UF is a competitive 4-win team, he keeps his job. If not, he is gone. And it depends where that recruiting comes in.
I'm going to watch that Utah game. I don't care how late that's on. I want to see how they perform. Now, Utah got beat when they came to Gainesville, and then they won, I think, most of their games the rest of the season. And they're a good program. Now they want revenge in their house. Oh, that's going to be a good game, and that stadium will be packed with the Utes.
And I'm very surprised that they're not in. And I don't, like I said, I'm not the insider on this conference realignment stuff. I just know what's being floated. They're not being pulled into one of these conferences. They're still in the pack. They're stuck in the pack, right? No one's pulling. No Big Ten.
No. They've been a lot of noise about the Utes the whole week.
I know they're not big media.
They haven't moved anywhere, but a lot of noise because here's what the quote experts are saying. They don't have a big TV market, and their TV evaluation is not good.
That's the thing. Like BYU's probably a bit of Salt Lake City. Like they probably have a bigger share of the pot. But
I don't know.
But
BYU's, I don't think either one of them are getting good TV viewership. Evaluations.
Yeah, Malik says 4 to 5 wins on UF schedule at best. Yeah, I think that seems to be the consensus, Malik here. That's not true. We can tell all the old man is Tolia.
Yeah, right. Hey, I hope you're on my Twitter or X account or whatever the hell they call it. No, I'm not. No.
Wasn't it in Tampa in the early?
And I don't need to defend myself.
Yeah, did they have it in Raymond James? They must have had it in Raymond James at least a couple of times, I feel like.
Hey, listen, let me tell this story. This goes way back. Florida State was playing the University of Houston in Tampa in some kind of bowl game. I don't know what it was. You might be able to find this. I think it was on the radio. It wasn't on TV because TV was just not well developed. Florida State's getting whacked in this game by Houston. I don't know the court. Florida State versus Houston, Tampa, some bowl game back probably in the 70s or 80s. But the funniest play is Florida State was so frustrated, right? Our quarterback, whoever the hell it was, throws a pass. The Houston guy picks it off and is running down our sideline. One of our players on the sideline goes out and trips the guy who is going for a pick six, trips the guy, and the guy goes down. It's this huge penalty. I don't even remember. It was it was the funniest. Out of frustration, our player did that.
This was in the 70s or 80s?
Oh, yeah. It was way back. Houston, Florida State,
that's not
Tampa.
On YouTube.
It was unbelievable. I think I was listening to it on the radio again.
That's funny.
Oh, my God.
That's
great. If we can find that, we'll play it another time. Oh, it was...
Yeah, he said it was in Jacksonville from 05 to 07.
Really?
And then in Tampa for a couple after that.
Oh, you mean for the ACC championship?
Yeah, ACC championship, yeah.
Well, he's right. If you can't fill the stadium, they move it, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how it works. Okay.
I see another. Gotta check,
everybody
guys.
up,
See you, B. Riley. Take care, man.
Yeah,
the
see
old
ya,
guy only
man.
hugs his great grandchildren.
Great. I don't have great grandchildren.
Soon, maybe soon.
I don't
We'll
like
see.
Noles anymore. I like Grill Master.
All right,
See you, Noles.
y'all. It's been a good time.
Oh,
if
my
you haven't
God.
already, please like the
Oh,
video. We appreciate it. We're gonna do a show soon talking about realignments and the next steps for that.
In fact, my grandchildren say you guys don't get enough likes. You don't get enough likes. So
He is. Just remember, he is the
There it
oldest
is.
living FSU
There it
fan. In the Senate.
that's my role. KB signed me a role. Bring legacy.
Bring legacy.
No hugs. No sugar. Raw. No, there we are.
All right, guys. So look out for our next video. It'll be coming out probably this weekend. Sorry, that we'll be posting, and then we'll be doing a preview show for LSU and some stuff in between there. But let us know. Subscribe, like the video. We appreciate y'all's comments. It's been a great night. Enjoy y'all's weekend, and we'll talk with y'all soon.
Hey,
and,
we're gonna probably drop something this
okay,
weekend, right?
Yep, exactly. All right.
On a different subject.
All right.
Stay
Take care,
tuned.
y'all.
Hit
Have a
that-
good one.